It's an incredibly important place. Wet, lush, full of ferns, incredible bird life, beautiful, clear, crystal streams.
Someone from outside of Victoria would be stunned at these beautiful forests. They're the tallest flowering plants in the world.
Victoria's state forests are of global significance and are home to a host of endangered animals. But scientists say the health of the forest is threatened.
It's extraordinary that a state-owned logging agency is out there destroying these ecosystems.
What we see is widespread systemic breaches of the law and no action being taken to rectify that problem.
Established in 2003, VicForests is a state government-owned business with an independent board. It's tasked with harvesting and selling timber taken from Victoria's state forests. Last year, the federal court found VicForests had illegally logged the habitat of the endangered leadbeater's possum.
The federal court ruled that between 2016 and 2018, VicForests had logged in breach of 6 different Victorian environment laws.
It wasn't the first time. Over the past 2 decades, the company has been found by courts and regulators to have committed multiple breaches of environmental laws.
You would have to describe VicForests as an outlaw organisation.
VicForests declined to be interviewed for this story. Now 7:30 can reveal claims that logging is putting the state's most important water supplies at risk. The Thomson catchment holds around 60% of Melbourne's drinking water.
A water catchment is an area normally of forest that captures the rainfall, and then that rainfall makes its way into streams and then into dams.
Strict laws have been in place to protect the purity of the water collected here. To prevent contamination, until very recently, it's been illegal to log on slopes steeper than 30 degrees in important catchment zones. Despite what's at stake, data obtained by 7:30 as well as documents obtained under Freedom of Information laws reveal that VicForests has been logging beyond the 30-degree limit and that they've been doing it for years.
The forests are essential in making sure that the water is already of high quality before it comes into the reservoir. So it's slowing down and therefore filtering through the soil before it makes its way into the local waterway over time.
Professor Stuart Kahn is a water management expert at the Uni of New South Wales. He showed 7:30 what can happen after vegetation is removed from a steep slope.
It's not even making it through the lip here because it's all just eroding. The forests play a huge function. The forests are responsible for the fact that we don't see suspended material, organic carbon, and most likely nutrients in this cup anywhere near the degree as we do in the cup that comes from the deforested water catchment. It would be a disaster if Melbourne lost the great value that it gets for protecting drinking water from its catchments.
Coming here and just seeing the ruggedness of this country, it is actually hard to believe that logging has actually occurred within the slope prescriptions of the law.
In 2019, ANU scientist Chris Taylor started to suspect VicForests was breaking the law. So he began working with Professor David Lindenmayer, one of the world's most influential forest ecologists.
That's almost unwalkable when it's that steep. We were able to put maps of the steepness of the landscape together with maps of where logging had occurred, and as soon as we began to do that, it became quite clear that large areas of forest that were above 30 degrees had been logged, which is a clear breach of the law.
They confirmed their modelling by inspecting sites and presented allegations of illegal logging to the industry watchdog, the Office of the Conservation Regulator, or OCR.
We expected when we handed our results to the regulator that there would be significant action about the widespread breaches of forest laws that have been going on for nearly 15 years.
The OCR formally investigated 2 of the 252 allegations of illegal logging. It found breaches of the law in both instances, but took no enforcement action and dismissed all other allegations.
I had no idea how the OCR conducted its investigation. It gave a one-paragraph dismissal.
Documents obtained by 730 under Freedom of Information laws do reveal how the regulator conducted its investigation. Using its own computer modelling, the OCR found evidence of slope breaches in more than 95% of logged areas.
The regulator's not doing its job.
730 has also obtained the very data used by VicForests to plan its logging. It's an incredibly detailed 3D model of the forest. It confirms areas steeper than 30 degrees, marked here in red, have been logged.
The extent of breaches were very widespread, in fact more than what we had found previously.
In total, the data shows up to 321 hectares of land logged beyond the legal limit. VicForests said in a statement claims of widespread breaching of slope protections have been investigated by the regulator and were not substantiated.
We investigated the allegations of Linda Mayer and Taylor.
Chief Conservation Regulator Kate Gavins declined an on-camera interview but agreed to a phone interview.
If even VicForests' own analysis finds that they're breaching the law in such a widespread and systemic way, why would the OCR conclude that such allegations can't be substantiated?
Well, Michael, again, I think there's a difference between a desktop analysis and detailed in-field analysis, and that's what we've done in this circumstance.
How many of the 530 coops that you did desktop analysis of did you do an in-field analysis of?
I can provide that information to you, Michael. I don't have that figure in my head.
In response to 730's questions, the OCR later revealed it had only completed on-the-ground investigations at 2 of the 529 sites. Both were confirmed as breaches. In a statement, Environment Minister Lily D'Ambrosio said she takes non-compliance very seriously and asked for an independent review of the OCR's investigation. 730 has obtained that review. It found the OCR did not conduct an intelligence-led approach when it rejected the allegations of systemic slope breaches. The OCR has declined requests from the researchers to launch a new investigation, stating the logging happened more than 2 years ago, so is outside the statute of limitations.
Well, it makes me furious because the regulator has access to this information, and we had to undertake a costly Freedom of Information request to get this data that took nearly a year, and when we got it, we were then told that we should have presented it earlier. But they've got access to this data.
The OCR has done everything possible to make sure that it hasn't done its job properly.
Earlier this month, after the scale of the alleged breaches became clear, the Andrews government changed the law. As a result, VicForests can now log up to 10% of any area over the slope limit. The government says it made the change to merely clarify the existing law. But it means hundreds of the alleged breaches, were they to occur now, would no longer be illegal.
When they're caught like this, what they do is they change the law. They don't change their practice, they change the law.
But this does not clear the air completely. Many of the alleged logging breaches by VicForests are so vast they go well beyond the new 10% limit, like this one here. VicForests' own data suggests nearly a quarter of this large coop is steeper than 30 degrees. But they logged nearly the whole thing.
We have politicians saying that we have the best regulated forests in the world. Well, frankly, that's bullshit. And our work shows that it's bullshit. And we need to do something about it.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.